Hey everyone, in this short video I wanted to highlight what smart investors know about Nikola stock. Right now, what investors are paying attention to most. So let's get right into it. And the thing that most investors know about Nikola stock is they are short on cash. The company tried to get shareholder approval to increase the amount of shares outstanding so that they can raise more capital. And how that would work is they would sell more of their stock to the public, and whatever they're able to raise from that stock sale, the cash would go to the company, and the result would be more shares outstanding, which I will talk about a little bit more later on in the video. Another way the company is dealing with this issue is reducing production. They're not manufacturing as much because they don't want to pay upfront for all the materials and the cost of goods necessary to produce these vehicles. And then they're divesting business segments so that they can focus on the core, so that they can reduce the cash that's being spent every quarter. But the good news is that customer orders for their vehicles, their electric trucks, I should say, or and now hydrogen fueled trucks that are coming online, those orders are increasing. So that's good news. That's really good news. So let me highlight the production decrease here. So from the first quarter to the second quarter, the number of trucks produced fell from 63 to 33, which is a bit surprising considering that sales increased significantly from 33 for retail to 66, from wholesale from 31 to 45. So the company still reduced manufacturing despite this um, increase in orders. Uh, and here's the reducing of the cash spend that I talked about. So the annual cash usage is expected to decrease to under 400 million by 2024. So this is due to the reorganizing workforce around new areas and eliminating anything that's non-essential and divesting some of its business operations, focusing really on the core. And they've got the first mover advantage, of course, for hydrogen energy, making strong progress with multiple partnerships. And the really highly anticipated third quarter launch of the hydrogen fuel cell electric truck is on schedule. So that's really good news for Nikola stock investors. And another piece of good news that came out in July for Nikola was they were awarded a grant from Caltrans, California Department of Transportation, a $41.9 million grant to build 6 heavy-duty hydrogen refueling stations across Southern California. So that's a big deal. Anytime Nikola can get a grant from the government which will allow it to expand its business without using most of its own cash, that's a huge positive for the company. And I mentioned earlier about the company's cash dwindling. Look at the downward trend of its cash, just 121 million in cash left for Nikola as of its latest update. And if you want to put that figure into context, the cash flow from operations in its previous quarter was over $170 million. So they could not continue at the pace they were going at, burning through cash. That's why you saw a lot of those reductions in spending, reorganizing, divesting, laying off people, really focusing on the core because they're running out of cash. Now, one solution to that was the um, move to try to sell more stock. And if they do that, that would dilute shareholders. And as you could see, that's been a strategy they have employed before. You could see the number of shares outstanding growing from around 350 million in 2020 all the way up to 550 million in 2023. So an extra 200 million shares have been sold to the public, which dilutes shareholders, which makes it so that if you owned one share of the company or 100 shares of the company, it used to equal, let's say, 1% of the company. And now, after the dilution, that 1%, your 1% ownership would have fallen to something like 0.7% ownership. So your ownership percentage has fallen, meaning when the company eventually reaches profitability, you will be entitled to less profits. So from an investor perspective, the best case scenario for Nikola to raise more cash is by making more sales and getting some cash up front, or by receiving these government grants, which is a huge injection of capital. So Nikola doing an excellent job securing customer orders. Now it just needs to get its capital in line just to make sure that it can produce the cars to deliver to these customers making orders, who seem to be not willing to pay up front, because if they were, then Nikola would be getting cash for these sales, but it does not seem to be the case just yet. All right, but that's all I've got for this video on what smart investors know about Nikola stock. Thank you so much for watching. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.